Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm really excited to make a video about champion tier lists in MCOC. I just think that's really fun to share your favorite champions in the game, to hype up your roster a bit, and brag about your favorite champions. And because I don't want this to be a one-way conversation, I've come up with a way for you guys to share your tier list with me and the community. So if you're interested in that, stick around till the end of the video. Uh, but first off, let me explain the tier system that I have working here. So we have the God tier, which is basically the best champions in the game, in my opinion. And then we have the A tier, which is champs I think are the best in their class. And then we have the B tier champions, which are champions that are essentially toolkits, which is to say they shine when you have a specific use for them. They aren't as generic as the A tier champions, but they're still very good champions and worth ranking up. And lastly, in my tier list, we'll have the meh tier champions, which is it's just champions that I don't care about. Like, they may be good. Some of them are definitely not. Some of them are bad, but some of them could be really good champions. They could also be someone's favorite champions. But regardless, I just don't care for them, and I don't think they should be your top priority when you're considering ranking up champions. Okay, so let's get into it. Yeah. The first class we have is the science class. So here, obviously, Photon, Spider Woman, Nefaria, and Torch are the god tier champions. I think that's like, you can't even argue with that. Photon, dual threat, Count Nefaria, insane champion. And Torch, sheerly from his sheer amount of damage potential, is he a god tier champion. Like, I did not expect him to scale as well as he does as a 7 star. Even though I don't have him as a 7 star, I think like he's just really OP, man. And Spider Woman, I do understand some people might be skeptical about ranking her up because she's getting nerfed. But trust me, as someone who has a rank 4 Spider Woman, I can guarantee you that the ensnare being gone is not going to make her a bad champion in any way. Like, her power stings, her damage, her evade counter, all of that is still going to be there. So if you have a Spider Woman, you just pulled one of the best champions in the game. Rank her up. She is absolutely amazing. Now we have the A tier, which is Agent Venom. Oh, sorry, Anti Venom. I love this guy. He is such a tank with so much utility built into his kit. I think Kabam did a phenomenal job buffing him and releasing him as a 7 star. I run him in AQ, map 8, and just phenomenal champion. I don't have Spider Ham as a 7 star yet, but I just love him. Amazing damage and a dual threat with his evade and BGs. Silk, again, phenomenal champion. Quicksilver, mostly because of how much utility he packs. And like, alongside the utility, he has like that SP2 burst damage, which is just amazing. I know some people may be turned off by his animations, but I think he's just an amazing champion. Overseer is another underrated champion who I ranked 3 after watching B McGee's video. If you don't know why he's good, go over to B McGee's channel. He's done so much Overseer gameplay. He's just, yeah, one of the best champions. And lastly, Deathless She-Hulk. She's a champion who I would consider her more and more now to be a B tier champion, just because even though her utility and damage are right up there with the A tier champions, she's kind of falling off for me a little bit. So I don't know. For now, I think she's a strong A tier champion. However, maybe in the coming months she goes down to B tier. We'll see. Now the B tier champions here, leader. I personally have him in B tier because I don't like his game style, and I know Kabam has been trying to have so many regen metas, so you see leaders everywhere. But I personally don't think outside of those regen metas, leader has much to offer. But again, because those regen metas keep showing up, I think he is definitely a niche champion. Great for those specific matchups. Void, one of the better science champions in my opinion. Again, not good for day to day, but every now and then he's still kicks ass, dude. He's really good. Hulk, just because of his damage. Luke Cage, just such a Luke Cage is like the jack of all, master of none champion. I don't have him as a 7 star, so unfortunately I can't comment on how good he is, but I've seen people use Luke a lot and he's able to pull his weight very easily in most cases. So yeah, Falcon. I think I've used Falcon as a 7 star. I've duped him a couple of times now, but I haven't ranked him yet. But I do think he has a lot of potential. His damage actually surprised me. His utility with the slow is pretty good. I think after his tune up in January, he's definitely going to be a really solid option for a lot of people. Spot, again, one of those champions who I very easily can see someone claiming as a god tier champion. It's just for me, I don't like his playstyle with the blocking because I can never I can never get the AI to behave the way I want. So for that reason, I've put him in B tier, but I can't deny he's a really, really good champion. Titania easily would have been an A tier champion if it wasn't for them nerfing her SB3. But she still is a very solid champion, buff immune, so you already know, like, in those niche fights where you need that buff immunity, she can come in handy. And Sentry, I think Sentry could even be considered an A tier or God tier champion, but because it's so specific to long form content, I think AQ is another great place that Sentry shines. But it's so specific that he has to be used in long form that B tier, I think, is a solid spot for him. And everyone else underneath, there could be champions that you guys like. Uh, that I haven't ranked higher, but for me, everyone else is like, meh, there's only so many champions you can rank up. All right. Second, we have the skill class, Okoye. Do I need to say more? You know what I mean? Like, Okoye is absolutely phenomenal champion. One of my top skill champions and my first rank for skilled. So, Okoye, absolutely amazing. Nick Fury, don't have him as a 7 star. Cannot deny he's a phenomenal champion, though on attack and on defense with his double life. Amazing. Stealth Spidey. Okay, this is my hot take, but I think Stealth Spidey is better than Stark Spidey. Just so much utility alongside his damage, man. Starky has more damage, so he obviously nukes everything. But when you need even the slightest bit of utility, I think Stark Spidey falls apart. Whereas Stealthy, with his unique slow that also counters miss. Come on, top tier. Bullseye, again, a lot of people will think he's just a defender. I really, really like him for attack. He might not be an attacker in Battlegrounds because he's a bit slow, but any other form of content where it isn't a time crunch, Bullseye has amazing utility. Evade and miss counter, guaranteed crits. Like, I think he's phenomenal. And Elsa, personally, I feel like is someone I've slept on for so long, but she is such an amazing attacker. If you've been on MCOC YouTube, you might have come across an Elsa clip, and if you haven't, go to Allison Edits YouTube channel and check her out. Like, the amount of Elsa content she has is amazing, and having just used a rank 3 Elsa this season in BGs, 100% god tier champion in my opinion. And now we have the A tier Yelena. Again, I think one of the really one of the most annoying defenders, obviously, but she can also be used on attack. You guys, I don't think she's just an attack, just a defender. She's definitely a solid attacker. It's just that if it's a time crunch like Battlegrounds, she's not the most ideal. But outside of that, she can really pull her own weight. I think she's definitely an A tier champion. Moleman, again, I've taken this guy to rank 2. I'm still like 50-50 on whether I want to rank 3 him. Doesn't need to be awakened necessarily, but kind of benefits from it. Dual threat. If your opponent doesn't have a counter for this guy, you can definitely find them getting tripped up. Lumitrix, again, best idle champion we've seen out of the 3 so far. I really hate that I don't have him as a 7 star. I will happily trade my duped Isophine for even one copy of the 7 star Lumitrix. Chillet, again, absolutely amazing, amazing champion, a phenomenal utility machine. I don't think I need to explain why Chilith is an amazing champion. I would say Chilith is also a decent defender just for the fact that there's such a tank that if you slightly don't have an absolute damage nuke against Chile, you will definitely find yourself surprised on how tanky this champion is. And Black Panther, again, I don't have Black Panther as a 7 star. I hope I get Black Panther when he gets added with the other bad champions in December because he is. I think he could probably be a god tier champion. He is kind of tricky on defense, and his attack potential is just amazing. I've seen people nuke like rank for Yelena's with a rank 3 Black Panther at under 30 seconds. It's just insane damage potential. B tier here for me, I'm a little iffy on how much I like a Tumba on attack. He's definitely a bit tricky to play, but if you can get yourself to learn his playstyle, he has amazing damage potential. I've kind of clutched in a couple of matches with Atuma, which surprised me as well. But he has a good damage like kit built in. It's just a little difficult to access. But on defense, solid defender. So he has like he's kind of in the B tier because I've averaged him out as I see him as an A tier attacker, but also kind of a B2 meh tier. Sorry, an A tier defender, but then a B2 meh tier attacker. So I've kind of averaged him into the B tier. Shang-Chi, I think for all for in terms of utility and stuff, I think Shang-Chi is kind of not as exciting to me, but he does have A tier or close to god tier damage. So again, averaging him out to the B tier, I think is where he shines. Patriot is kind of a disappointing buff, but he is still the best photon counter in the game. It's just again, he's a toolkit champion, right? You pull him out when you need to fight those pesky photons and stuff. We got Killmonger, Black Cat, Zemo, Falcon. All of these, I don't think I need to explain. I think they, with slight tune-ups, they could all be A-tier champions, but I think they're a little bit niche, and they shine when you specifically need what they offer. So again, great champions, just not the best in the class. Just solid champions. Crossbones, he's simply in the B tier because I don't know how to play Crossbones really well. I've struggled to keep his Furies up, to maintain the spacing that he needs to punish heavies and specials. So for me, he's a B tier, but I completely agree with anyone who says that he's a god tier champion. That ability accuracy reduction is just broken, bro. Everyone else in the game, yeah, meh, I don't care. Let me know if you guys think one of these champions in the meta here is amazing, but I think it's gonna be a hard sell. All right, Mutant. The god tiers are like undeniable. All three of these champions, Onslaught, Mr. Sinister, and Jean Grey, all three dual threats, all three phenomenal attackers. Like best not only in their class but in the game. I don't think it compares. And then we have the A tier champions, Negasonic. I would say Negasonic is also sort of a toolkit champion, but because she has such a broken uh mechanic of like shutting down the entire skill class, I think she deserves that spot, dude. Everything about her is passive. It kind of blows my mind that she's not incinerate immune, but hey, I guess you can't have everything. But yeah, Negasonic definitely a very solid A tier champion. Can take any skill champion on any path, like phenomenal. We have Havoc. Havoc to me would be a B tier champion, except he is such a key battlegrounds champion for me, especially because I hate fighting onslaughts. And this guy can pull his own weight against Onslaught, man. For the sheer fact of him being able to take Onslaught the way he does. And also, occasionally on defense, he will trip people up who don't have armor up champions. So, and if they accidentally try and do energy damage against him, like he will sneak up and just like nuke your attacker. So yeah, definitely an A tier champion for me. Eventually, we'll be going up to rank 4 for sure. Gentle, this was a surprise, but I love Gentle. Ever since I pulled him, lucky enough to dupe him. Like his damage is right up there. The way he can just take a hit makes me feel so comfortable in playing him. Like even if I slip up, it's not a complete loss. Like he can take a hit, dude. Gentle is amazing, and he's a dual threat. So like even on defense, if you don't have the right counter for Gentle, your opponent can get tripped up. Dust again, dual threat champion. Don't need to explain. She's phenomenal, phenomenal. If you haven't tried her on attack, you should. SB2 into SB1 with that power back, it's just amazing. Deadpool X Force, I would say, belongs in the B tier, but again, law of average. His damage is God tier and his utility is B tier. So for that reason, I have to average him out. The damage is undeniable against any champion in the game. Like no one immune to his Chablis debuffs. Like yeah, he deserves the A tier position just for that. Cassandra Nova is a champion I don't have. I've never played, but I have seen what she does in other people's live streams and such. And also, she is kind of a pain as a defender. I've definitely lost all the matches against her because I just couldn't figure out how to play her and couldn't be bothered really. But I am really excited to try and go for her in the Titan. Hopefully I get her and I get her duped because I will be ranking this champion. Domino again, I think A tier, despite the fact that she's sort of fallen off with so many counters now existing. I think damage wise, utility wise, like she doesn't have utility necessarily, but she's a solid defender and her attack potential is like essentially limitless. You know, that lucky unlucky thing, it's like you never know. And if you can get a critical bleed in the opponent, it's like game over. So she is a strong A tier champion. If you have her, rank her up. I don't know if I would awaken her necessarily, but for the rank up, I think Domino is a solid option. Next up, we have B tiers. Captain Britain. I hate Captain Britain. The buff was, in my opinion, a waste. But they made her a super pain in the ass defender. And for that reason, if you care about defense, be it Alliance War or Battlegrounds, she is a B tier champion worth ranking for defense alone, though. Attack, I don't know. Sunspot, again, law of average. I think he's an A tier attacker with his amazing damage potential, but he really falls apart when it comes to utility. The way his whole kit works these days, like most skill defenders don't see Sunspot as a threat, I would say. Yelena is kind of exception in that case, but yeah, I think Sunspot, the state of the game right now has made him a B tier champion for me, but he's still a very solid option. Storm, again, same thing. If she was a better defender, she would have been A tier because she has the damage and the utility for an A tier, but yeah, she has no defensive purpose. And when you look at all of the A tier and God tier champions in this class, I just can't justify ranking any of these B tier champions above them. You know, the same applies for Silver Samurai. He is an amazing Yelena counter, but outside of Yelena, I would rather pick any one of these other mutants in the A tier over Silver Samurai. So yeah, that's my logic going into it. Professor X, pretty cool champion, great damage. Emma Frost, great utility. Also has good damage potential with her prowesses. Same with Cyclops and Dazzler. For me, Dazzler is an underwhelming champion. I just don't like her that much. I don't know quite what it is, but I think she still is a really good champion, though. Namor, he needs to be sick 200, but man, his utility is like unlike anyone else I've ever seen. And the rest, meh, you know what I mean? All right, tech class. This I'm very much aware that I'm super biased about because I love Prowler. He is an amazing champion. He is actually surprisingly a respectable defender in the sense that outside of the cosmic class, a lot of different champions that you would think will just nuke him would kind of be slowed down by the way he works, simply because you can't parry his mediums and you can't necessarily punish his specials. So a lot of metas actually work in his favor as a defender. I've seen some insane luck throwing him on defense, and people would usually think they're gonna just nuke him, but he stalls the fight. And as an attacker, I think he's amazing. He's immune to falter. He can get openings in fights, which, in my opinion, outside of parry, if any champion can get an opening to heavy a champion or like just drop that attack, I think that instantly takes them up a tier, in my opinion. And so for that reason, Prowler, God tier champion, very biased, don't care. Jack O'Lantern, I think, arguably one of the best tech champions in the game. Unfortunately, I don't have him as a 7-star. I keep trying to spin those crystals, but I keep failing. I hope I get him. Reverse control immunity, amazing, amazing damage potential. Just all around a perfect champion, and he can counter all three god tier champions in the mutant class, which by itself deserves a spot in the god tier. And then we got future Ant-Man, another champion I don't have because he was released mostly for money, but dual threat, phenomenal. Bastion, the sheer number of fights Bastion can do is enough to get him a god tier status, bro. Any fight where you can't really use your specials, I can see how Bastion is just useless, but so are most of the champions in the game. But outside of that, Bastion definitely god tier attacker. Not much of a defender, but surprisingly, if he is able to stand his ground, the ability accuracy reduction from the infection, if the opponent gets that, he could actually even trip them up on defense. So again, I'm not claiming he's a defender. He's pretty much a noodle on defense, but just as an attacker, he's so good that he deserves the spot. Warlock and Red Skull, I think both of them arguably are dual threats. Even Warlock with his degen and how he punishes the opponent for having the willpower mastery. I think both of them amazing attackers. Both of them unlike any other champion when it comes to power control, damage, utility. Perfect. All right. A tier, we're just going to blow through this because I don't think any of these champions need to be justified as to why they're in the A tier. Starkey, damage. Guardian, damage, and a little bit of utility. Penny, dual threat, amazing damage. Maker, utility. Sentinel, dual threat. Shuri, surprisingly, only because of damage. You know, the versatility of this champion is amazing. You can either 100% crit or you can not crit at all. Like, it's up to you. You can either do damage just with the precisions or you can do damage with the shock debuffs. Like, such a versatile champion. Absolute A tier. Omega Sentinel, also a dual threat. Not for endgame, but for early players, definitely a dual threat champion. And so much utility. One of the best robots in the game. Nimrod, now that he's a 7-star, I've kind of predicted this position as an A tier, but we'll see how he fares in the current meta of the game. He has been away for a very long time, so yeah, I do think his shock damage is outstanding, so maybe he will stay in the A tier, but we'll see. I think for now, A tier, he deserves this. B tier champions, again, here mostly because these are very niche. Solwark, mostly a defender, but can be a niche attacker. Shocker, mostly an attacker, but can also surprisingly be a defender. I always trip up against this guy because of the way you have to intercept him to get rid of his auto block charges. Mysterio, I think, is a solid B tier champion. So I'm considering ranking mine up. He has the damage, he has the utility, and he's a good defender. He's very annoying with both of his specials tripping you up in two different ways. The only thing is I would still have to test him out because now that you have the SP3 skip, his SP3 gives him close to 20,000 attack rating as a 7-star at rank 3 and rank 4. Like 20,000 attack, that's for 10 seconds plus 4 seconds for every gas effect you have on the opponent. So you can have 3 gas effects, drop an SP3. That's 22 seconds where you have over 20,000 attack. I mean, I think Mysterio is kind of going to surprise a lot of people if you give him a shot. Arcade, again, mostly a defender, but has solid attack potential. Infamous Iron Man, just because he is a very niche champion. Like when you need that power control and the opponent is not immune to shock, I think Infamous Iron Man is amazing against those sorts of fights. But again, more of a toolkit champion, more of a niche utility champion, hence strong B tier. Ironheart, one of the best design skill champions, such an all-around champ, just not as relevant for endgame content, but if you're anywhere from Cavalier to Valiant, she is one of the best champions to have in your roster. The OG Iron Man buff cannot wait to pull an Iron Man myself. I've been trying for so long, but he's amazing, especially for Alliance Quest raids and stuff. Absolute god tier when it comes to raids. So averaging him out, he's still a solid champion, B in my opinion. Zola again, mostly a defender, can be an attacker, but for me, B tier. He's very specific. Like I would need to actively decide that I'm going to use Zola for me to use him on attack. Otherwise, he's not a go-to champion like the other ones are. Everyone else here, kind of meh. So yeah, moving on to Cosmic. This is very unfair in my opinion, this particular class. But I don't think anyone can argue out why these three are god tier. It is what it is. All three dual threats, all three just take the top spots so easily. No one else has a chance. So unfair, yes, but true also yes. A tier we got Angela. Love Angela, great utility, great damage. Walks. I mean, if you don't know what Walks can do so far, like what have you been doing, mate? Like go check out a Walks video, rank up your Walks if you have him. Medusa, absolutely one of my favorite Cosmic champions, arguably one of my favorite champions to play just because of how fluid her animations are, dude. The buff for Medusa was perfect, and they just did the queen justice. Null, I would say, deserves to borderline be god tier, but I think because god tier has these three insane monsters, I just don't want anyone to compare to them because it's just hard to compare to what those three can do. But call A tier defender, attacker, just phenomenal. Has so much utility, degen and bleed resistance. Like, come on. Carolina Dean, really fun champion. I think you can live without Carolina Dean in your roster, but man, is it fun to have her as part of your team. Like, such a fun champion. The ripping of SP2s is so satisfying. I just enjoy playing this champion, which is the whole point of the game. All right, Gallon, undeniable damage. Can also be a trippy defender if you don't have a way to avoid him getting his buffs. Cull Obsidian, he is a B tier champion with god tier damage. So, like, averaging him out, A tier. All right, next up, B tier, we have two of the symbiote champions, Venom and Scream. We also have Venom Pool. I think Venom, if he had... So, if you guys don't know, Venom Pool has this mechanic where if the opponent is immune to bleed, like if a skill opponent is immune to bleed, he will change his DOT to degen. And Venom, for some reason, doesn't have this. And just because of that reason, he's a B tier champion, because so many tech champions are immune to bleed. Most of them are just robots straight up. So, like, Venom really falls apart when it comes to fighting them. But again, he's a very strong toolkit champion to have. Counters all of the Spider-Verse champions so easily. Scream, phenomenal damage. Can also trip up people in a power gain meta as a defender because her SP2 needs to be spaced perfectly or else you're just dead. Odin, again, phenomenal attacker. Very niche, but really good, especially early game. Oh man, Odin is one of the best champions to have if you're a up-and-coming player, especially all the way up to Act 6 and 7. Odin kills it. Nova, I haven't played Nova personally because I've never managed to dupe him, and he needs to be Sig 200. And I've seen him do god tier stuff, but at the same time, he is kind of very, you could say, mid, quote unquote. Not to offend anyone, but again, I think Nova has some amazing potential. If I dupe him, and I will definitely rank him up and try him, and he maybe get promoted to A tier. If he's in your A tier or god tier list, stick by till the end because you're gonna be able to let me know. All right, Overseer, mostly a defender, kind kind of a disappointing attacker. So averaging him into the B tier. Beta Ray Bill, again, very niche, only for specific cases. It's not my go-to champion. Hyperion used to be A tier, kind of falling apart now because like just look at the A tier. Like Hyperion unfortunately isn't there anymore. You know what I mean? Superior Iron Man, again, a lot of damage potential, but no reason for me to rank him up above the champions that I have in the A tier. Adam Warlock is a champion that I think deserves to be in the A tier, but Kabam's AI is just neutering this man. Like he needs the AI to cooperate in order to do what he does. And these days, I just don't think he's getting that AI that he needs. Everyone else, the Cosmic class is really, really good. A lot of really fun champions if you like. Uh, like for me, Gore, Gamora, even like Captain Marvel movie are really solid, good attacking champions, but I tend to lean more towards dual threats and utility. And champions I use consistently just make me not care about these meh champions. So yeah. All right. Lastly, we have the Mystic class. Nico absolutely rips everyone else to bits when it comes to comparison. Like, unfortunately, she is so far above and beyond every other champion in this Mystic class that it's just not even a comparison anymore. So Nico's single-handedly holding down the God tier title there, but a Mystic is another one of those classes that's like so jam-packed with good champions. White Tiger, Werewolf, Tigra, Kushala, America Chavez. Like America Chavez has such insane control over her fights. Like Purgatory, what a phenomenal buff. Hood, what an amazing, amazing champion, dude. If you haven't played Hood, you need to give this dude a shot. He is so versatile. He can do so many fights that you would never expect Hood to be able to do. And Shatra, she is a bit of a skill ask champion. Like you need to know how to play her. You need to know how to space specials and like use that heavy to get your special. But if you can play her right, she is one of the strongest champions in the game. We have Juggernaut and Kindred. Juggernaut is definitely a very god tier attacker, but he just gets nullified so easily. Like a single debuff can stop this man dead in his tracks. And like every new meta that comes out, I feel like Jugs is just, getting a shaft. Like I don't know how to defend him anymore because he's just being hurt by the meta. As a standalone champion, his damage alone deserves to make him an A tier champion, but in the current state of the game, solid B tier champion. Kindred, amazing defender, surprisingly good attacker. Just that he doesn't have the speed as an attacker. Like his damage needed to be tuned up a little bit for him to be a very solid attacker. But I think he has the exact abilities that the skill, like the Mystic class needs to make him a good attacker. But his damage is just, yeah, he's not fast enough. Dragon Man, again, early players, if you pull a Dragon Man, if you're not Valiant, like he is amazing for questing. He is amazing for so many other parts of the game that aren't necessarily the competitive modes of war and battlegrounds and stuff. So if you have Dragon Man, rank him up. He's gonna get you through so much stuff. Enchantress, very disappointing champion in my opinion, but I cannot deny that she's an A tier attacker. She's just a menace on attack. Sorry, defense. Sorry, the video's been going on for too long. She's an amazing defender, A tier for sure. So averaging her out as a defender and attacker, she's a B tier. You can rank her up if you need a defender. She's amazing. Wong, again, he's like Sentry in the sense that long form content is where he shines. So he's a perfect niche champion. Pull him out, dust him off whenever you have that Necropolis to target. Uh, we've got our favorite symbiote here. I don't know, man. A little bit of like tweaking in his kit can make him an A tier champion, but because we have skip SP3 buttons now, I think he's a really really good attacker and potentially even worth being in battlegrounds. Just because the two champions, Dark Phoenix and Serpent, are immune to bleed, so we'll have to see. I personally think his DOT should be replaced to have rupture instead of bleeds, and that'll just open him up to take so many more attackers. And instead of putting staggers on the opponents, I think he should do staggers and passive buffs, or pass like buffs like Nico and Kushala do. Just have a symbiote buff on the opponent that he can also nullify with his stagger, and that'll just make his rotation so good. But for now, until those changes are made, like B tier, still a niche champion. You can use him when you need him, and he's gonna outperform any other one. But he's not a go-to champion. Rintra again, same thing, man. Like, not fast or good enough on attack to be an A tier champion. Still solid defender, still can get you through a lot of stuff. His neutralize is really helpful. And B tier is where I see him. And Mystic Class again has a lot of good champions that I've put in the meh tier, because simply like they all end up doing more or less the same exact thing, which is they play around with buffs. Outside of that, there's not much the Mystic Class does. So all of the rest of the champions for me are just meh. Spiral, like, dude, there's like 4 different Serpent slash Dark Phoenix counters that are better than she is, and they can do other fights which she can't. So she's definitely meh. Everyone else, like, I don't care. So again, now at the start, okay. So I said at the start that I have a way for the community to share their tier list, right? Their favorite champions. And to do that, all you have to do is click on the first link in the description. It's a Google Drive link. You'll see this exact template, right? And you will also find class-wise folders of every champion PNG in the game, I think. I've tried to put all that I could find. And you can use any basic photo editing app on your phone or PC to put this together. I use an app on my iPhone called InShot, InShot on my iPhone, and Photoscape on my Mac. So both free apps, like you can download and use them, not like riddled with ads or anything. So yeah, you can share this with the community. You can tag me on Twitter, okay, if you'd like, at the Arcade Gamer. That's my user handle, and let's just have fun with this, man. Let's just have fun with this. You can have your favorite god tier champions, one of each class, and your favorite A tier champions, one of each class. And I would like people to make a hot take where they think a champion that the community seemingly loves is kind of mid. So I hope it's gonna be fun. Like, put your mid hot takes in the third tier, and yeah, share it with the community. You got YouTube, you got Twitter. Let's just have fun with it. Yeah. That being said, please drop a like on this video on your way out. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.